Hello, everybody. This is Joel Medina, and this is the weekly outlook Forex. And we're gonna see the weekly outlook for gold and then for GBP JPY. And let's start right away with gold. So everything that we were expecting to happen last week happened. And I will say, like I always say, the fact that it happened doesn't mean that we're always gonna be right. It just, there's gonna be times where we're gonna be wrong. I did get two people, uh, giving me a really good feedback on how these type of videos have been helping them, and one of them actually didn't believe that we really were gonna go to 1875 this previous week, because when if you go back to the previous video on the I think it was the 5th of June last week, the weekly outlook from last week, I said when we were here that it didn't make sense to me that we didn't visit 1875 even if we're still gonna go down. And for both, if price wanted to continue going up or just come down, I was still expecting the 1875 level to be reached. And I explained all the details of that. I explained them on the other video from the weekly outlook, and that person was a little bit surprised. And I said, hey, just listen carefully what I just said previous week, because all of the reasons why that happened or the probabilities of that happening was so high, I was explained there. But also keep in mind, it doesn't mean we're always going to be right. Right? This is just a probability-based game, and what we do is we analyze the market based on the probability of that outcome to happen, and that's how we actually execute trades. Likewise, also, last week I said that if we were gonna go to 1875, I would still sell that limit. I literally did. I just grabbed like a few 30 some pips. Actually, I have a print screen because the trade is over. Like I said last week too, if I sell that level, I will sell it because that would be a sell limit in a counter trend. And what I do is I take profits as soon as possible, leave a runner. Literally, that's what I did. I should have it around here. There we go. Look, this was on Friday. I think it was around 2 p.m., something like that. And I placed this a limit because there was no volume left to break that strong level. Didn't make sense to break it after 2. And we reached that level again, took the entry and took my 36 pips, and that was it. Just like I was expecting since like a week ago, right? Executed everything that I was expecting. Now, the interesting thing for this week, weekly outlook, this week, we just broke. Now, we broke it with the opening of the session, which is a little bit, curious, but still happened. So we actually broke the limit of the zone. If you notice, this is the limit of the zone, 1877. We broke it with the opening of the session. What that means is that the intention of continuing up for the week has been given from the beginning of the week. That's how I read it, right? That doesn't mean that we have to go up, like I always say, but the probabilities of this going up are really, really high. Now, this is what I typically call an intention wick, right? I've talked about it many, many times, and they play out really nicely, right? So we have the intention wick happening at the beginning of this is good news, because what that means is that anything that looks like a buy, if we retrace from here, should be a really nice buy entry for the push up. Based on what I'm saying, you would notice that I'm quite bullish. I'm bullish because the fundamentals are there, right? The economy is really not doing good. And also the structure is there, meaning we closed right above. Look at this wick, this candle. We closed right above the previous closure of the structure of the weekly zone, which is around 1865, right? 1865, that price level, we closed above it. So what that means is the probabilities of price continuing going up are really, really high for this week, okay? So what we could actually expect is some sort of retracement, and especially down to the 1855 and 1850 1850 zone. That would be like the max level that I would expect this week. Look left, look here. And that would make sense. Look here, look here. Like we have all of those. Look here, you see. So it makes sense that either 55 or 50, you know, you grab some liquidity even if you're still gonna go up. Now that doesn't mean that we have to come down to continue going up anymore, because we have those two massive wicks, you know, from here. So we could actually just keep pushing up from around here. So we have to keep that in mind, which means that anything that looks like a buy should be a good entry for gold. So buys are the preference for the next week. Now the monthly remains bullish with this correction, but the structure you see right here, we had now a support confirmed. I mean, it's not confirmed yet, but it's painting like that. The weekly has not flipped bullish, but the structure broke the zone. So now I can consider that the buys still are in favor. Daily is bullish, and that was also something that somebody mentioned to me, because when I uploaded the video, I did it here, and the daily was like this. So that I remember somebody telling me that they didn't see this price reaching back again to 1875. And I stuck to my guns, and I said, hey, I just seen certain behavior on price, and I'm just sticking to my guns that I think 1875 is gonna be met. And that means, like I said, that doesn't mean that I was gonna be right. I will be wrong in the future for sure. But if you read out the higher time frames, most of the time you're gonna be right? So here, look what happened. We're here now. Based on everything, now we can just stick to the higher time frames. Same thing I did. And the curious thing that happened last week was also that we never broke. Like, notice here, we have a platform here, support platform here, like 1840, and also we have one at 1835, and we even reached grab liquidity all the way down from 1825 and still pushed up. So there was a massive, structure, like range zone that was grabbing liquidity from all the ways, especially from the downside, to push up. So that's why I'm saying, anything that looks like a buy, especially around 1855 and 1850, might be a really nice entry to continue going up. 1850 around here should be a nice entry to continue going up if that happens. So the intention to continue going up just was given as we opened the week. That's the interesting thing about gold this week. So buys are in favor, technically, even fundamentally, but especially technically, because that's how I analyze the market. Makes sense to continue going up. Okay. Any retracement down to 55 and 50 should be a nice, probable supports form here that makes sense with the structure. Should prompt nice entries to continue going up if we're really gonna go up. If we go up, as you would expect, this is what I see. I would expect price to not only come up all the way to this zone here, but I actually would it would make sense to come to 1905. Okay, it would make sense. Now remember, we had a weekly candle that came all the way from here and closed here and it never reached, and then the next week reached. So keep that in mind. Still, we're starting the week from down below here, so it wouldn't make sense to grab that liquidity, like I said, even to push up. But also keep in mind the daily is still bullish, so everybody's bullish on gold. So it doesn't make sense to sell unless you do a sell the same way that I did it, which is that I sold the limit and then I took profits really early. Like right now, you see this structure here. Even if you were to sell this, by the way, not a good idea. I would not recommend that. But if you had a strategy similar to mine and you wanted to sell this, which I do have one strategy to sell tops, I would not recommend holding for too long, expecting all of this to be retraced, because the pressure is still quite bullish, and you don't want to play against the probabilities, right? Okay, so let's go to GJ just to finish this. And GJ is really simple. I think GJ should be faster than gold. I mean, gold was simple too. Gold is just bullish at this moment. It's just that it ranged really ugly last week. But as we can see, the monthly is still bullish. The weekly still bullish, quite bullish. look, just 4 weeks in a row really going up. Daily was all bulls, and now we finally have some sort of rejection here around 168.500. 160, almost 169, but it's 168.500. And that doesn't mean that we have to keep going down. So keep that in mind. We do not have to correct, like I always say. Price actually does whatever it wants. But if you want to go for anything, I would still recommend to go with the higher time frame structure. Right now, the daily is kind of correcting, and 4 hours flip bearish. So 4 hour is bearish. So for the intraday, sales wouldn't be a bad idea if you find a nice rejection from any of these levels here. Let me draw them here. So sales, it doesn't mean that sales wouldn't make, sales actually could make sense just because the 4 hour is bearish. But I would prefer, if I see a buy setup, to go for it instead of a sell, because I always try to go with the higher time frame, period. So for the daily, if I see for whatever reason 163.500 having that visit here and a formation of a support, I might start looking for really nice buy entries with the probabilities being in favor of this still pushing up. Now, you still have an intra level here on the daily structure at 162.500, so keep that in mind. That also, if we come down to here, that would be also a nice probable buy entries. But from here we could also form a support, so we would have to just be aware of that. For that, I would prefer to see at least the 1 hour flipping, at least the 1 hour flipping. We don't even have the 1 hour bullish. Even the 1 hour is bearish still. See, like 1 hour is bearish, 4 hours bearish. Only the higher time frames are bullish. So I would prefer for that, not necessarily the 30-minute, because that's a lower time frame confirmation. But you see from here, you kind of see a trend line now forming, a little bit of a structure, but nothing really attractive yet. Now, the moment I see like the 1 hour clearly confirming the reversal, then I might start to look for buy opportunities too. So in short, pretty much gold and GJ both are still bullish. The preference for gold is quite bullish and easy to spot. For GJ, it is bullish, but right now we're in the middle of an intraday correction, so I would actually expect for key levels and reversals on the 1 hour before I decide to continue with the buy entries. But still, GJ also is, look at this, the structure is still bullish. Okay, so like I always say, for me it's simple. I don't complicate my life. If the daily structure is bullish, that's pretty much where my bias is gonna be. So I don't have to stress with anything. I'm just gonna keep it like that, and if I don't see like a good buy opportunity, I could wait. I don't have to counter trend if I don't feel like I want to counter trade. You don't have to trade every single day. So just keep that in mind always. We do not have to trade every single day. It's not necessary. Like we can just wait for our setups to have a better outcome. So I really hope you guys like this video. Thank you for the feedbacks that I've been receiving. Last week was great, and also the outlook that we did last week was really helpful and played out pretty much as we were expecting. Let's see if this one plays out. If anything, it's gonna always play out anyways, because we always keep it with the higher time frame, right? So give it a like, subscribe. This is Joel Medina. Hope that you have a great, productive week, and I'm gonna keep it. If I cannot stream because I've been doing a bunch of stuff, my personal life, I will still try to create like educational videos like the one that I did last week. Go check that out. That video from last week it was really notice that just 2 people also were the ones that told me that they really helped them. But still, even if it helped just one person, that's good enough on how to create your own strategy. So I really recommend you go watch that video on how to create your own strategy, where we talk about the edge and all of this. So have a great beginning of the week. See you next time.